What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar. We're going to be breaking down our futures contract per usual. Be going over what happened today in the market, as it was a very strong day for the bulls. Good day for the buyers all around. So if you were caught shorting this market, hopefully the only time you shorted was near the balance highs of the market at the time, which were around 55.1875. And we are looking at the new contract. We're looking at the September contract right now, the U contract. So if you haven't rolled over already, might be time to start looking at the rollover, as obviously things have changed. We'll go over our futures, kind of update you on what happened here. We'll look at the AMD swing trade that I'm currently in. Down on it pretty good right now. Kind of held, or it got back above the key level that I was looking at, which is around that 156 level. We'll look at that and then kind of give you a game plan on what I'm planning on doing with that trade. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. I think first and foremost, we need to look at the larger time frames just so we have an idea and understanding of what is going on in the bigger picture. I think that's going to be kind of key here. So we're looking at the monthly. Monthly, as you can tell, big push above the previous month's balance high. You can say we've been one-time framing up for 2 months if you'd like. I'm saying we are currently one-time framing up just for this month alone, as last month I thought we had just slightly stretched it to the upside. So really good extension so far above that previous monthly balance high of 53.5825, as we are now above that by about 200 plus points, which is a really good extension. That's what you want to see in a bullish market, is continue to get good extension above a previous time frame's high to show that the trend is indeed young. Now, our weekly, all right, our weekly is also one time framing up. It's been one time framing up for the last 3 weeks, 1, 2, 3 weeks in a row now. We've been one time framing up after we took out that balance high of 53.5825. Really good push so far. Now we do have this gap here. We do have a weekly gap that is due to the premium in the rollover. Okay, there was a premium, pretty good premium in the new contract, September contract, so that obviously resulted in a gap above where we closed, but nonetheless does not negate the fact that we are one time firming up and with really good strength. However, volume continues to be an issue, and we'll continue to look at that and monitor it as we go higher and higher. At some point, you know, the volume is going to matter and volatility will pick back up. But right now, the grind higher continues even on low volume. So shorting a market that's one time framing up on the monthly, on the weekly is very difficult, especially if you're trying to short swings. That is definitely a no-go for a market that is one time framing up, setting higher highs and higher lows. So this week, we look to continue to push up higher or come down and maybe see if we get back to last week's high. Last week's high was, we want to pull up. Last week's high was right around 54.50. So either we hold today's massive trend day up, or we pull back, come back into a balance, and maybe, just maybe, get into a little bit of a gap that there is due to the premium. Alrighty. And like I said, you'll see what I mean by the daily looking kind of funky compared to what actually happened on the profile. And then we'll look at SPY as well, because that is going to be a more accurate representation of what happened over the weekend. So coming into the end of the week last week, we came into a balance. We had two lows right at the same price, 54.0850, held beautifully, especially coming out of this gap here that we had. We were in a nice little balance here. Came one time framing up on a gap. We've held that gap pretty positively, and look at this, we've got another gap that we are holding currently. Had a little bit of a late day sell off as some profit taking and some laggard buyers kind of got caught in the market. However, we do have a nice gap and are now one time framing up on the daily, looking to continue that by taking out today's high of 55.61. And then just real quick, let's look at SPY, just so we have an idea of what the daily actually looks like without the premium, right? If there was no premium in the contract, nonetheless, this, I think I have, nope, not updated. Shoot. So this was the initial balance area right here. Let me kind of mark that out. You can see we were in a similar situation in SPY. Was in a nice 3-day balance. We had opened up in Friday's range above the afternoon pullback low level, which I was discussing in Friday's video. Then we got a nice pop and push to the upside. So we are, firmly one time framing up there. Not on a gap in SPY, but on the futures contract due to that premium, there is a gap. But in SPY, there is no gap or one time framing up. However, it was a very strong trend day up with multiple distributions, and we'll go ahead and look at that as well. So let me go ahead and dive right into this. So today was a very, very strong trend day up. This is what a strong trend day up looks like. Okay, we were in a balance. You can see here we opened up inside of the previous day's range, pushed up higher, got above the previous day's high, continued to grind, had a small set of single prints. But as we approached this balance high area up here, right around this 55.19 level, we were kind of backing off a little bit, but little did we know that was an excellent opportunity to get long. As when we did pull back, we held the small set of single prints here, then we boom, pushed up, exploded out of balance, create another small distribution here, another set of single prints, another set of single prints, and then another distribution up here. Now, in order for us to create a distribution, you need 3 time frames at the bare minimum to kind of create that distribution, unless it is within the first 2, or you need 3 time frames, to have traded around the same price to create that distribution. That was here, what happened here, and that's what happened up here. So we end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 distributions. And we'll go ahead and highlight those real quick so you understand. So that is going to be 1 distribution right there, your lower distribution. So let me select this. I don't know. Slide that over. So that is going to be your lower distribution. This is going to be your second distribution, a much smaller distribution, but it is nonetheless there. Then you have this distribution here, that whole time frames range. Then you have the upper distribution up here from the day's high to M's low right there. So what we're going to be looking for tomorrow is whether or not we open up in this upper distribution, right? So buyers want to open above 55.44. If we open above that, then there's a good likelihood of us continuing the one time frame up by taking out 55.61. We take out that 55.61 level, the daily continues one time framing up, and the grind will continue. Buyers most certainly want to open above, in my opinion. They want to open above above our balance area was previously, so 55.1950. So if we open up in this third distribution here, I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be the end of the world, right? If we have a little bit of a pullback, kind of a retest of this 55.19 level, which is kind of where I have some single prints highlighted and acts as a bit of a support area. So between 55.26 55.26 and 55.19, I'd like to see is if we do pull back to that area, do we hold there, or do we get below it and get into these lower distributions down here, right? If we get into these lower distributions down here, then that is obviously a no-go for the buyers, and then there's a potential for taking out the day's low if we do that, if we do such. All right, but nonetheless, very strong trend day up, quadruple distribution day up. Several sets of single prints, as you can see, I have marked on my chart here. I did not mark where they start yet because we were pulling back late in the time frame of M period. So as we began to pull back there, kind of didn't mark where the single prints began for that time frame. So let's go ahead and mark that right now. Date. And then let's go over the destination. So let's start from the top and work our way down. So the upper distribution is going to be 55.61 down to 55.44.25 where the single prints start. Okay, so buyers most certainly, the most positive reaction would be to open above that level. All right, then your single prints fill at 55.41. Okay, 55.41. The next set start at 55.38.75. They get filled at 55.34.75. Then we get into that third distribution, which is going to be from 34.75 to 26.75. All right. That is going to be your third distribution there. And then we get into the next set of single prints that start at 26.75. They fill at 15.25. So if we pull back, fill this set of single prints, and reject out of this second distribution right here, we may come back up and kind of chop between 55.15.25 and where the upper distribution is up here, 55.44.25. Pack in some volume between that 55.19 and 55.44 level. So if we do pull back, I think that's going to be a key area. If we pull back, fill that set of single prints. If we hold there, get a nice bounce and rotate back up towards the highs. I think we may play a little bit of ping pong in between there if we do get some type of pullback tomorrow and start filling some of these single prints. All right. So that second distribution being from 15.25 to 55.09.50. That's where the next set of single prints begin. They fill at 55.04.50. And then you're in that lower distribution and the low of day down here at 54.89.75, right? But look at how today we opened up inside the previous day's range. I said on Friday that we wanted to open above that afternoon pullback low, 54.83.75. We open above that, the chances of us going and testing the all-time high and the balance high up here was very, very good. And that's exactly what we got with really good volume, actually, for the most part on the day, above average. Here recently, average volume has, well, maybe I'm lying. Let me check here with SPY. SPY might be able to tell me a little bit differently. Average volume, 600,000. 1.2 average volume. So we were well above average volume today. So that is a good sign. Definitely want to keep that up moving forward. So game plan tomorrow, obviously watching that 55.15.25 level, how we react there. If we open, pull back and find some support there, some buyers, I think that's going to be an excellent opportunity for us to get long. Present a good risk reward long opportunity. Maybe we get long 15.25, use 09.50 as our out, because at that point you may begin to pull back even more and get acceptance into that lower distribution, which is what you do not want. And then real quick, go over AMD here. Good old AMD. Let's look at the daily. So the daily's been chopping around in between this 174.55 level and this 156.92 level for quite some time. Okay. Today we pulled below that weekly balance low. So if I pull up the weekly was in a pretty good balance here. All right. We're using this weekly low here as our balance low, 156.92. And because we took that out, we're technically one time framing down on the daily. So that means, or not on the daily, on the weekly. So that means the continuation to the downside could be down to the 150, 148 level. That should be the next downside destination. But I did like, however, today, after we pulled back, got a little bit of a liquidation break, kind of stopping some people out of their long positions. You can see here on the daily, we pulled back, but you see how we've reclaimed. Yes, we did break that level of 156.92, but we reclaimed it and held above it going into late into the day. So come tomorrow, I'll make my decision on whether or not I continue to hold my 175 call for July. If we break back below that 156.92 level, I think that will be a clear indication that the AMD is definitely a lot weaker than what meets the eye, and it's definitely underperforming, and we could see lower prices on AMD. So I may end up switching to the short side if we do break 156.92 again, because like I said, the next downside destination is your gap fill down here, 153, and then that day's low, 148. So I think I may end up looking at some puts. If we break below that, I can stop out of my position. May look to switch to the short side because the daily is clearly one time framing down now. The weekly one time framing down now. So lower highs, lower lows. That series is continuing. There's definitely a clear trend that is kind of beginning here, right? A little bit of a clear trend, right? So I'm looking, maybe we hold here 156, hold above that, a break of this, right, would be very nice. That'd be an excellent break. A hold above 162 would be even better if we do break that trend to the upside. But like I said, the likelihood is not very favorable because we are one time framing down on the daily and on our weekly time frames now. So not looking very good, but there's still a chance. There's still a possibility. So I will look to see if that level continues to hold. You can see how we got it back above it, pulled back to it a few times, and we held it. Tomorrow, we're going to look to see if we continue to hold that level. Once again, if we break below it, I'm out of that position. Take the loss as is. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys in the next one. See you.